What's up, guys? It's your boy Zach Boy back at it.
Hey, isn't this a fitness video?
Oh yeah. So the way that I came into contact with the law of attraction and the 7 hermetic principles overall was because I broke up with my girlfriend, and long story short, it ended up being one of probably the worst heartbreaks of my life. And I'm only 22 years old, so I can't be talking mad shit about heartbreak and whatnot, but I decided that I was going to do whatever it took to get her back. And so I started doing all this research, how to get your girlfriend back, all this stuff. And at the same time, I was kind of starting the first business that I'd ever really started, the first official business that I'd ever really started. And so all of these things combined were taking a pretty big toll on my morale. So overall, it was really tough to really gain traction in the business world. It was really tough to, for a while, even get out of bed, just because I was so hurt over having, lost this really significant person in my life. And so I'm doing all this research trying to figure out, how to develop good habits, how to move forward in the business world, how to really gain traction in owning a business, and how to, get your girlfriend back, how to get a significant other back, somebody who you've had a lot of tension with and is now basically gone from your life, and there's a significant amount of resistance there. In doing all this research, I came across a lot of esoteric concepts. For those of you who probably watch my most popular videos, which are my astral projection videos, you know that connection to energy and meditation and all this stuff is something that I've had a pretty deep connection to for a while, and pretty much always in my life, I'd say, whether or not I was really conscious of it or not. When I came across this law of attraction stuff, I first was trying to do these exercises to get my girlfriend back, and I quickly realized that there was going to be a lot of resistance there. I don't want to say I necessarily gave up, but I really did kind of, and I've been doing a lot of internal work on this even now, is really practicing letting go and giving it back to the universe and saying, I'm not going to really hold on to this as something that I'm really desperate to happen, because desperation yields more resistance, yields more distance, right? Since then, I don't want to say necessarily that things have gone perfectly as I thought they were going to go or wanted them to go. I'm not in a relationship with that person anymore. We have, I guess, cultivated a better sense of friendship, or things are not as tense as they once were. I don't really know, but overall, I'd say that the majority of that work was done because I really let go of it. I have obviously practiced manifestation and law of attraction for many other areas of my life, and areas that I didn't have as much resistance to and that were a lot more open for me to discover and gain traction in. Things like business, my finances, other relationships, strategic networks, things like material items, or all of these things I have been able to use the concepts of visualization and believing to make happen. Now, I feel like I'm qualified to make this video talking about fitness because I have really come a long way from when I really started my fitness journey to now, whether that be weightlifting, endurance, overall physique, whatever it is. I've definitely made a lot of progress from when I started to now, and I see how these concepts from the law of attraction and manifestation have come into play. Alright guys, so we're bringing it inside because outside was extremely obnoxious when it came to the birds and the bees and the bugs and the dogs. So here we are inside, a little bit cooler, a little bit nicer, a little bit more comfortable to record because I'm standing. I wanted to give you guys a couple examples of things that I have manifested when it comes to physique and health overall. So the first and the biggest thing for me would probably be size. Ever since I started bodybuilding at the age of 14, really getting big and strong was the goal, because I was a skinny kid, really lean, really found it really hard to put on any kind of weight. And I see how these concepts really played a part in how I made those gains, even though I wasn't necessarily conscious of the law of attraction at that point. So the heaviest that I ever weighed was just shy of 200 pounds, and that was just about 2 years ago at this point. A little less than that now, but that's because I haven't been eating as much, and my focus has been a lot more on endurance exercise like running, biking, static holds like planche, stuff like that. I see that as a pretty big achievement, and the way that happened was simply by surrounding myself with that kind of environment. So being in a place where food was not necessarily as much of an issue for me. I could pretty much eat as much as I wanted whenever I wanted. I was in college. I was surrounded by people that were of the same mindset. So they were also lifting a lot. They were lifting more than I was, and I was seeing how their lifestyles played out and how they were able to make those kinds of gains. It shattered a lot of the internally limiting beliefs that I had had about making those gains, and potentially reasons why I wouldn't be able to, or the average person like myself would not be able to. The other big thing that is important to me is injuries. I had a pretty bad head injury when I was in the 9th grade. And just a little bit after that, I suffered some pretty severe knee trauma to where I was having pretty serious tendonitis every single day. And a lot of the activities that I used to participate in, I felt like I could no longer participate in. So I used to do a lot of parkour and free running, gymnastics, martial arts. Once I started suffering this really significant knee pain all the time, I really had to kind of shut out a lot of those activities and go for more generic exercises, such as sports like track and field. I ended up in track and field instead of wrestling or instead of doing parkour because I just found that simply running was not as much of a painful activity. Now I basically don't suffer from either of these things at all. And here's why I think that is. Basically, I just started believing that it wasn't as much of a factor. Like, long term, is this knee pain really going to affect me for my whole life? And I saw a lot of adults and a lot of, like older people, I'd say 40 and up, that were talking about the kind of knee pain that they had. And it was almost like synonymous with when I experienced that knee pain. And once it really started affecting me, it's like all of these people started coming into my life explaining how they also suffer from knee pain, and it's really limited them so much in their lives. And I started to ask myself, do I want to live the kind of life where this injury, this pain, is going to be limiting me all the time? And sort of synonymous with this was, over those same years, I was also suffering a lot of headaches. So I would get these pretty intense migraines at like the drop of a dime. So really loud noises, really bright light, like I have a light shining in my face right now, and that kind of stimulation would have really caused a headache to be triggered. And so I do think the concept of resistance and deliberate resistance is a way to attract more negativity into your life. However, the way that I approach this stimulation, and especially the people coming to my life and telling me their stories about their pain, was like, do I really want to live like that? Do I really want to have just like this kind of minor issue affect the course of my life and limit me from doing all these activities? And the answer was no, absolutely not. And so I applied, without really realizing it, I started applying the concept of living as if. And I went back to doing the activities that I love doing. I got back into doing flips outside and, running, doing like parkour over like walls and climbing up stuff, and especially a lot of hiking and trail running. And running down trails, if anybody is into that, you know how seriously rough that is on your knees, and you know that that is by no means something that would be good for your knees if you have a knee injury. But lo and behold, here I am, no more knee pain. I don't really have a way to prove that, but yeah. So with both of these examples, the thing that should really stick out to you guys is the concept of living as if. So I wanted to be large. I wanted to be big and jacked and whatnot, and live as if I was a bodybuilder. And I did that. I started not worrying about food. I didn't worry about how much food I would eat. Instead, I simply made time and went and ate. There was nothing stopping me. And that carried over into when I went home. It wasn't just that I had all this access to food at school. When I would come home for breaks, breaks from college are 3 months, 2 months long, and I would still be eating the same way. I was applying a lot of other things at the time, like intermittent fasting, which I still do. You can watch videos about that on my channel. I wasn't letting anything stand in my way. I had a lot of people around me who were doing the same thing. I was training pretty much every single day. I was tracking a lot of my lifts. I was always focused on lifting bigger every time I went to the gym. All of these things are things that you will find out once you start on this journey, and once you really start to live as if you are where you want to be. Mainstream society is going to tell you not to pick out people and idolize them, not to compare yourself to people. And I 100% agree. Don't compare yourself to people, but picking idols and using examples is not a bad thing. So if the Rock Dwayne Johnson has the body type that you want, or maybe like Broly from Dragon Ball Z has the body type that you want, feel that you are that person. Not that person, but feel that you are in that position, that you're in your ideal body type. How are you living? What is the difference between what you're doing now and what that person does every single day? Are you only sleeping like 5 hours a night? Are you eating a lot of junk food? Are you not drinking enough water? Would somebody that is that size and that strong be doing the same things you're doing? The likelihood is probably not, because you're not there yet. So really, living as if is the most powerful way to achieve these things. I want to give you guys an actionable tip and a technique that you guys can use to move closer to your goals. So with most law of attraction stuff, you're going to hear about the techniques of visualizing and journaling. This technique is a little bit of a combination between the two. What I want you to do is, this is next to living as if. You guys should be practicing that every single day. Okay, so really feeling like you're there, asking yourself, what would this person be doing? But this is just another little booster tip. So what you're going to do is, you should be tracking your weights, okay? You should be tracking your exercises and how much you lift when you do them. So when you do that, obviously go through your workout, figure out what you can do, figure out where your shortcomings were. But after that, I also want you to put down next to it what you would like that weight to be. And you can shoot as high as you want. You can shoot just maybe a little bit incremental. Whatever works for you, whatever is easier for you. Once you do that, you're going to write down that weight, and then you're going to practice visualizing doing the exercise with that weight. Feeling how easy it feels, feeling how simple it is. You know, if you're a really big, strong person, maybe that 2 plates on the bench press, not hard. And you can just you visualize yourself doing that with ease. Over time, it's going to get there, and it's going to get there as you start to believe that that is the case. And before you know it, you're going to be there, and it's going to be easy, and you're going to have the physique and the capabilities that you want to have. I promise you guys, with a little bit of patience and practice, manifestation works. It works for everything. It's worked for me. It's worked for millions of other people. I'm still practicing this, and I'm every single day waking up to the new possibilities that really are within us. Alright guys, that's what I got for you. I hope that made sense. I know it was a lot. It does sound kind of difficult at first, but once you really get into the groove and you start manifesting things on your own, you're going to see how simple it really is. It's kind of like we naturally overcomplicate these things because it seems so massive to us, yet when we really start to understand it and put it into practice, it's actually not as complicated as it seems. I totally just repeated the same thing twice. Hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, hit that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out. If you have any questions or you want to talk to me personally, leave a comment. I try to respond to everybody, or next best thing, shoot me a DM on Instagram and I will chat with you there. And until next time, bye-bye. Shoot.